Ask you for any donations that you would be willing to give, that we appreciate it here at the Relief Valve Podcast. And just in case you are unsure about how you could give, I wanted you to give to this baby right here. Luna, the loon, needs your donations. We need your help in order to make a better life for everybody. Luna, you want a better life for everybody? She's not happy that she's here. That I've got her up like a big baby. But if you can just give a little bit to help Luna, Luna the baby, and donate to her food and her to make her happy. She's fighting to get down. And to make her happy, Luna, can you come into the shop, please? We would really appreciate it. Luna would really appreciate it because she's already unhappy to be part of this. And if for some reason that Luna here isn't enough, Luna, can you say hi? Can you say hi? Hi. I know if I don't hold you up, you're just gonna disappear. If this isn't enough, then I will play a video from our new sponsor, who's going to tell you more about how you can help.
Life got you feeling down? Baby Billy's Health Elixir will lift you up. Heal the spirit to heal the body.
Colds, flus, streps, even COVIDs. Every disease cured with ease by this blessed formula based on ancient scripture. You just drink this tasty coconut silkiness every morning, and that's it. Done. $100 for a 1-month jug. Additional jugs only $65 a pop. And I make nothing. Zero. Zilch. By the time I pay all my scientists, all my people in my research department, lab coats, it's a wash. Well, why you do it then, baby Billy? Well, because I'm selfless. And I want to heal as many people as the dear Lord lets me.
Baby Billy's Health Elixir. A miracle in a bottle. Not approved by the FDA.
love that intro. I did that all by myself. Isn't that exciting? Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Relief Valve Podcast. This is a random midweek Blitzkrieg. Now I have to put all of the advertisement banners back on because they all got in the way. That's very annoying. I'm going to have to rearrange that so it works out the way I want at some point. But hello, everyone. Thanks for joining in for the show. And, you know, we're just going to kind of shoot from the hip here today. I did set something up partially. And then we're just going to fucking wing it for the rest of it. But, so getting into some of the first part. How was everyone's weekend? It's Wednesday. That's what Jer would ask you if he were here. How is everyone's weekend? Because I didn't get an answer from you the previous weekend. But how's your midweek going? I'm here having a cotton candy moonshine. And we're going to have a couple of drinks. We're going to get a little silly. We're going to talk about some crazy shit that's been going on. I'm out of work with a back injury, so I don't know if I'm looking at a shot, a surgery, whatever the fuck I'm doing. So I'm a bum sitting at home doing the podcast now. So that's my deal. Jeremy from the Quartering, he likes to give you updates about his fucking chores and how his day was going. So for anyone that gives a shit, that was my day. Okay. So moving on to the first part here, we've got the shooting in Canada in which a female officer shot an innocent person. So there's some horrible / hilarity in there. And this was just a whole weird situation here. But let's get into a little bit of this. So here's some video from Montreal, people on the scene.
I think he's hit. No, he's hit. He's hit. No, you touché.
Is that a bunch of immigrants talking? He's hit. He's hit. Look at this. You see this all of the time in Pakistan. On Pakistan, this is Tuesday.
They're going to start shooting over here, Steve. That's cops. That's a tough see, huh? That cop's gone.
I'm going to rewind that back. He came right. That was a female officer. Look, there he is right there coming around the corner. Right there. So she's hiding, or he's hiding. I can't tell who this is. He's hiding in this corner, and I'm going to replay it. He sneaks right around like you sneaky devil. I'm going to get
that cop. That's a tough see, huh? That cop's gone.
Why does he pan away? Reloading.
Look. He's there, Mick.
Oh my God.
Attention, balle perdue, arrive.
Ici arrive, presse là. He's hit. Fucking welcome to Canada, home of the immigrants there too. How's it feeling over there, buds? So this guy apparently he didn't kill any innocent bystanders. He went after the police and after this building which housed Pornhub's offices. And he shot a rabbi coming out of Pornhub's offices. We're gonna get to that. But my guess is they don't have little wank stations in between. You remember when Elon took over X, and right before he did, someone did like a walkthrough of the Twitter's headquarters, and these fucking losers had like a ping pong table area. They had a hangout area with sofas and chairs where they could all talk and shoot the shit, right? There was even a couple little glass decompression rooms that if you were feeling too stressed, you could go in there and close the door. And then you could go, oh, and it was like a deprivation room. There was no sound getting in and out. You could calm down. That's what the lefty faggots at Twitter were doing. But so I have to wonder, does Pornhub's headquarters have something similar? I don't know if this is their headquarters, but it was offices. Do they have little wank rooms where when like I've been looking at porn all day. This is fucking driving me nuts. I got taking a 10-minute break. Go over there to a wank room, close the door, no sound. Stop looking at me.
But all right, that's what happened. So, this is the rabbi that came out of there and was shot. You've got a little bit of a zoom in right here of that situation, which is what I just showed you, and it's about the innocent bystander who a female Montreal police officer shot as he attempted to flee. An armed suspect has been identified as Michael Mizrahi, who has sadly passed away. I was a rabbi coming out of Pornhub. Now, if you follow the Kino Casino and the Scarlett Hampton Ethan Ralph arc at all, Scarlett Hampton was someone who did black porn, which where she kind of made her name. It's like maybe a B level porn actress. She follows me coincidentally, and I follow her as well now after getting into that whole storyline and following that. But she said that the Jews run all of like the porn industry. They're in amongst the foundation of all of that. And you have a rabbi being shot coming out of Pornhub office in Montreal, Canada. So I posted up, looks like she might have had a point to that. Looks like she might have been right. So let's get a little more information on this.
We got to get to some other breaking news now out of Montreal. A shooting there has left 2 people dead. The suspect is also apparently dead. And we've got to warn you, there's some video coming into us. It is disturbing here. There's no other way to say it. Look at this. Shots are fired. You hear them. The suspect, we've sort of highlighted them. Suspects coming out from behind a barricade continues to fire shots. Police say they've taken that suspect's gun, and now there's a search to see if there are other victims. So far, they believe 1 person was hurt, but is expected to be okay. 1 additional person. I want to bring in Stephen Romo here. What else do we know about what happened, Stephen?
Yeah, Hallie, you can see in that video alone how much chaos there was at the time this happened. It was around lunchtime. Police say an armed and dangerous person was in that area of Montreal. They told people that they need to shelter in place and to avoid that area altogether. And people were sheltering there for nearly 3 hours. The police did not yet clarify exactly where the shooting happened, but we've seen so many videos circulating from that scene showing officers responding with their guns drawn, clearly taking this very seriously. Then you actually hear gunshots on several of the videos. We saw another video that showed someone who appears to be the suspect carrying a rifle along with an injured police officer. So police announced that that suspect has been neutralized and that 2 officers.
So here's the kind of fat female officer right here. I think she's the one that shoots the guy. So the rabbi comes running out of the offices, and then he's taking cover somewhere. And then more shooting happens, and he moves, as I'm understanding it, and he moves out of his cover and runs, startles her. She shoots him dead. Because it was like, movement. Like, what if that had been one of your fellow officers, you dumb bitch?
Officers and a citizen were injured there. Of course, police later clarifying that the officer later died in that incident, which is something that has not happened in Montreal for a couple of decades now. So there's a lot of questions, rightfully so, about how this started. Who was the target of this? Was it police? Right now, the police in Montreal are not answering those questions, as they are still trying to wrap up this investigation, which is fast moving. And there's lots of witnesses that they have to talk to who've taken these videos and sent them in to try to figure out how they can piece together a timeline before all of this took place. But a very chaotic situation and fast moving right now, Hallie.
Stephen Romo, still really active. Keep us posted. If you learn anything more, we'll come back to you. Appreciate that.
We thank you for...
Yeah, go fuck yourselves. Okay, so Dr. Clown has been making some absolutely hilarious videos of the female Canadian police simulator. And this is one of them. This is what happens when you throw a surprise party to your friend, and she's a female cop in Canada. Here we go.
Surprise!
That might be actual footage of how everything went down at the shooting in Montreal. Here's another one, female Canadian police simulator.
Introducing the most realistic female police simulator ever created, where every decision can change everything. Will you have what it takes to protect and serve? Montreal Female Cop Simulator. Introducing the most realistic...
God, I love these These fucking clowns. If you're in Montreal, you should be asking some questions. You should be going to a town hall. You should be asking some questions. Now, Steve Lookner had talked about this before. He's a very reliable guy. He does unbiased, agenda-free TV, and he covers a lot of the crazy events live as they're happening. Early on, he was a little biased. I noticed it here and there. He'd let something slip. It seems like he's worked on it. He's very unbiased, straight down the middle. The only thing he does is give you the news. I encourage you to check him out for live events that are happening, not only here, but around the world as well. So CBC Radio Canada was able to confirm that the Montreal shooter distributed a violent incel manifesto targeting women. The manifesto called for a violent revolution invoking masculinist arguments. Let me see what this. According to preliminary police analysis, the writings lament male loneliness and contain derogatory statements about women. The suspect, who was dressed in military-style clothing at the time of the attack, was nostalgic for a society based on traditional values. He complained that too many men are being left behind by women, so he was based. The individual also criticized pornographic websites that proliferate on the internet, explains why he went to Pornhub's office, including Pornhub, which he believed was largely responsible for men's troubles. No, my friend, it's helping you solve some of men's troubles. But that's okay. You were half right. He also criticized modern capitalist society. So this guy couldn't figure it out. So he was like a socialist or a communist who hated porn, but also believed that men were being treated unfairly by women. Like, Jesus, pick a lane. Men going their own way. This is something that he may have posted. Is men going their own way? They have their own group. MGT MGTOW. MGTOW is an anti-feminist, misogynistic, mostly online community that espouses male separatism from what they see as a genocentric society that has been corrupted by feminism. MGTOW specifically advocate for men to avoid marriage and committed romantic relationships with women. Well, who the fuck are you supposed to go with? Your boyfriend? The community is part of a manosphere, a collection of anti-feminist websites and online communities that also includes men's rights activists, incels, and pickup artists. That's an odd collection right there. So they're saying not to have, so simultaneously when you go to their website, you can find that you should avoid marriage and committed relationships, but also they will teach you how to pick up women, while also simultaneously doing your best to avoid women. That's interesting. So that's some of where that guy came from. It smells like a psyop. Anti-feminist male from Alberta goes to Montreal with an SKS. How convenient. I mean, I don't know. So there you go. They came from this weird misogynistic group that both likes women and does not like women and also hates porn. He's dead, but so isn't a rabbi. So apparently Scarlett Hampton was right, and the Jews are running Pornhub. Okay, so moving on to the next thing here. Has anyone been been following at all what is happening with the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool? I mean, this is just ridiculous. They have now, at this point, this is an actual photo. They have now, well, no, not the guard towers, but they've put fencing around the Lincoln Memorial? Okay, she says it's satire. So I knew the guard towers were satire, but it would not surprise me at the least that there is now a fence around it as well. So they've been having this issue about Trump wanted this whole thing redone for the reflecting pool in front of the Lincoln Memorial. So we had this team come in that maybe didn't do a great job and redid the liner or redid what was in here and has created an issue now which has allowed for an algae buildup. So this just in, video has been released of suspected vandals destroying the lining of the Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. Trump derangement syndrome seems to be a brain-eating disease. This is insane, says Nick Sorter. This particular incident took place on June 19th. Now even the New York Times is admitting 2 170-foot blade cuts have been found. Throw the book at them. Now, this was, I think, alleging to 1 or 2 nut jobs actually jumped in there, went down to the bottom, and started cutting up some of the liner in the bottom.
But the left, party poopers. And Primetime's got the tapes. The Department of Interior gave us a look at individuals suspected of vandalizing the reflecting pool. Now, we haven't been able to verify the video, but take a look. June 19th, a male, blue shirt, reaches in, stays there for a little while. He goes back down, comes back up multiple times. What's he doing? Then a female, white tote bag. She reaches in, needs a better angle, sets the bag down, dives in a little deeper. And we don't know who these people are. No one was stopped or questioned by police, so no arrests. And we don't have the police report yet. But what are they doing with their hands in the pool? Are they cutting the lining? Are they peeling off the paint? Now, we don't know if they're committing a crime. They'll probably tell you they dropped their wedding ring. The Department of Interior says this, quote, in the video, you're seeing 2 suspects observed destroying and removing a piece of the lining and attempting destruction of the lining. This incident took place on June 19, 2026, and we are investigating. Destroying, injuring, defacing, or removing cultural or architectural resources is a federal crime. The media, who's been covering liberals destroying public property for decades, believe that reflecting pools off limits. They've toppled statues of our founders, spray-painted monuments, burned the church outside the White House, but they think Trump was the one who destroyed the reflecting pool.
Check this out. That American flag blue paint, it's peeling away. The $14 million job to redo the bottom of this reflecting pool is falling apart before our eyes. The algae is still here, but the paint appears to be going away.
Maybe the contractors screwed up the pool, and they're fixing it. But we have a hunch there was also foul play. And we could be wrong, but we're seeing preliminary reports alleging vandalism. Incident 1, June 9th. A week after they started filling it with water, the report says someone slashed a 20-foot section of the liner overnight. Razor blade slashes. The New York Times described them as 2 171-foot blade cuts. They also ripped the fence tops off and threw them into the pool. Then, June 19th, a witness watched a man record himself on his phone while ripping the liner with his bare hands. A Park Service employee told him to stop. He said they were, quote, awfully sensitive about the pool and kept going. The National Guard had to physically stop him. When they searched him, his hands and gloves were wet. He was charged with 4 counts. Turns out that suspect is the Olympian, the guy he showed you last night, the canoer, who says he did nothing wrong.
I didn't think I'd done anything wrong, so I'd never.
Oh, yeah, so this asshole, a former Olympian swimmer, ended up being a lefty nut job, and he went there and defaced it as well. What a fucking bum.
A reason to think I was going to be arrested, but I suggested we walk over toward the park police rather than waiting for them to come to us, and went over and furnished my ID, and kind of before I knew it, I was being handcuffed and realized I was being arrested.
He's a longtime Democrat.
I got the haircut of a pedophile because I thought that the haircut was that's what I have, and I don't care if it's on it.
Democrat donor gave money to Obama and Act Blue. Arrested by park police once before, back in '96. And now he has a GoFundMe and a lawyer who just happened to have prosecuted Trump in the first impeachment.
This is a meritless prosecution. We will get into all the details in court. Every American should be concerned about this kind of thing. He's a cyclist who was going by a concerned citizen, curious
So what happened?
as Americans are about this mess.
He's just a curious cyclist? Well, the police report says otherwise.
So, I was half right about what's around the pool at this point. So, that other woman joked around and put the guard towers, but the fencing itself is real at this point. So, it has gotten to the point that retards are going to this because liberals are walking up to it and talking to the algae and telling it, good job for fighting against Trump.
Algae is doing good today, honey. Algae, everybody's proud of you. You are single-handedly doing more to fight fascism than any American has. Yes.
Let's go, Algae. Algae's fighting fascism, folks.
Yeah, algae. Woo, algae!
Woo! I'm wearing one half of the Grinch's outfit as my pants. Woo!
Did you turn around?
Retards. This is the left-wing morons that are going there and they're cheering algae with a trans flag. This is what these fucking retards are doing. Oh, God. So, recent reports confirmed that the fencing has indeed been installed around the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool. The fencing was put in place as part of security measures following allegations of vandalism, and it was also used for a specific event, the 4th of July celebrations, where it helped control access to the area, or it will when they happen. The reflecting pool located in front of the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C. has undergone recent renovations, and the new fencing is part of the updated security and visitor experience, whereas you can't get close to the water and enjoy the experience anymore. So thanks to lefty retards. While the exact permanent nature of the fence is still being confirmed, the temporary installation for events and security purposes has been visible in recent months. If you are visiting, it's best to check the official National Park Service update or local news for the most current information, as fencing arrangements can change for events or security reasons. Okay, so I have to call and make a request for the fencing. I'm showing up with a party of 10. Can we move the fencing temporarily? Everybody's in a tiff. We can't have our pool party. So let's go on about what's happening at the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool and how we've gotten here. So the Lincoln Memorial Reflecting Pool in Washington, D.C. is currently facing a mix of algae blooms, peeling paint, and allegations of vandalism following a multi-million-dollar renovation, all being paid for by the taxpayers. Algae and water quality issues. Just days after the pool was repainted, American flag blue, as part of a $14 to $16 million project ahead of the nation's 250th anniversary, the calm, nutrient-rich waters turned green with algae. The Department of the Interior says the algae is residual from reactivated supply lines, but experts note the pool's still water and nutrient load from the Potomac River make it prone to blooms. So it's either turning the pumps back on or recirculating the water that did it, or the blooms that are coming from the Potomac River. But I mean, either one, you have an issue, right? How'd you deal with it last time? High summer temperatures up to 95 degrees, because we've never been at 95 degrees before, have also accelerated growth. National Park Service crews are using hydrogen peroxide and nano bubble ozone technology to kill algae. Okay, that sounds ridiculous and expensive. And vacuuming dead algae from the bottom. The new American flag blue coating is peeling in some areas with chunks floating at the surface. Contractors and officials have not yet explained the cause, though the algae bloom and chemical treatments may have contributed. President Donald Trump has accused vandals of cutting a 250 to 350-foot gash into the pool's lining and dumping chemicals or fertilizer to encourage algae. He claims the damage was done with a knife or box cutter, and that 6 deranged people did it. 6 people have been arrested and 7 cited in connection with the alleged vandalism, but no evidence has been publicly released. The Interior Department has not yet confirmed the gash's existence, saying the algae was residual. Well, we all know the gash exists. Am I right, guys? But I don't know. You know, I think it's a combination of the two. I think that people have been coming and fucking with it, and I think also the company that they hired, which is in a lot of cases is like the lowest bidder, did a shit job and their fucking lining didn't hold. That's my personal opinion. But there you go. So you got retards coming and telling
Algie is doing good today, honey. Team Algie, we're sweethearts. Everybody's proud of you. You are single-handedly doing more to fight fascism than any American has. Yes. Yeah.
Do you like my haircut? It's the Butch Dyke one. So this was the asshole. He got brought on. They were talking about an American Olympic canoeist arrested for allegedly vandalizing Lincoln Memorial reflecting pool. Canoeing is a gold medal. They can't just stop adding shit into the Olympics. Like, you can canoe. Gives a fuck. That already. Okay, so now after I've set all that up, I'm kind of going to go through everything else that's going here that I've saved in my bookmarks. So bear with me a minute here. Okay. So now this Iranian deal is a mess. So to explain what's happening with the Iranian deal, Trump as always has jumped the gun, and he has said that we have an agreement, everything's getting signed. They didn't bring Israel in on it. Now, Israel has come right out, pretty much said word for word, we don't take orders from the United States. So they have continued bombing runs into Lebanon to attack Iran's terrorist proxies, which is Hezbollah, because they've been in a long-going battle with those two. Now, Iran has turned around and said that if they won't honor the agreement and stop attacking Hezbollah, we don't have a deal, because the deal is supposed to be America and all of its allies, no attacks on Iran or its proxies at all. So they want to continue their control of their proxies. So Iran has said basically, fuck that, we're going to keep fighting, they're a problem for us, or we're going to keep going. And this deal is absolutely going south. They've already said they're closing the Strait of Hormuz again. What was ridiculous was, as part of this agreement, and on a previous show, I outlined the 10 to 12 points of this entire thing, which included letting Iran be in control of the Strait of Hormuz again. Now, one of the things I learned as I was going through all this was maritime law allows commercial traffic to flow freely through all zones. It doesn't matter if that area of water is controlled by a country. They are supposed to be able to freely traverse the area. Now, if you've got bad intentions, or you have illegal materials, or you have something else, okay, that country will stop you at port, or they will independently search your ship, and they'll confirm if you're an issue or not. Aside from that, fuel, goods, food, and etc. are supposed to flow freely through every zone. It doesn't matter that it's in your country's territorial waters. Military ships are a completely different issue, obviously. But we're ceding control of the Strait of Hormuz back to Iran, with Oman also being in partial control and oversight in the area. So that, but the caveat is they have to allow travel to go through again, which is like, so you've admitted that they're in control of the Strait of Hormuz, but also they have to let ships go through, and everything has to be safe. At this point, and I'm going to get to that, they've already said we're going to close it again. So all the gas prices that they're boasting about, that we're seeing a drop in prices, they're going to come to an end. Just the news cycle needs to catch up to, because two different things are happening right now. There's the Trump administration, J.D. Vance and others saying, we have a deal, I'm meeting with Iranian officials in, I think they were in Pakistan, and everything's going great. And then behind the scenes info was coming out from the negotiations of Pakistan, and it was Trump was threatening to kill the delegation if they didn't get serious, sit down and sign a deal. I'm like, what part of from the book The Art of the Deal is that from? Sign something, I'm sick of your shit, or you won't make it home alive. That's what he allegedly said. So the meetings are going to shit in Pakistan. They don't have a deal. Iran's saying if you don't put a leash on your dog, Israel, we're not going to. nothing is going to happen. We're going to go back to the normal thing. Gas price is going to jump again. And they're controlling the Strait of Hormuz because they've got small boats, they've got fast boats that can just they can RPG. You know, a team will come over, they'll come by a tanker, they'll try and RPG the command center, something like that, the control center, the bridge. They'll just bomb that, or they send out boats with mines. There's still mines in the Strait of Hormuz. No one is discussing that. Which the Pentagon claimed will take 6 months to remove the mines, because some of them are free floating, and not even the Iranians know where the mines have ended up after they dropped them. There's between 12 and 20. So this most recent thing here, which I find very odd, the Trump administration is seeking $672 million in funding to remove the Iranian nuclear materials. What? Why are we paying for it? Now, apparently the word is that Iran is going to get their war reparations. They asked for this early on. One of the things they said when they were being attacked was, they said, the only way we're going to stand down and agree to peace is you're going to pay for all the damage you did to Iran. And then we said no, as part of all those negotiations. They said, okay, the fighting's going to continue. Now, allegedly, or apparently, the Trump administration has switched this so that the Gulf states in the region are going to pay up to $300 billion in essentially war reparations to Iran. So and then Trump and J.D. Vance said a dollar isn't coming out of the taxpayers, which I don't believe for a minute. But he said the taxpayers aren't going to pay for this at all, the American taxpayers. All the Gulf states, Dubai, UAE, etc., Kuwait, they're the ones that are going to pay all this money because they're going to work together with their fellow neighbors, Iran, in doing this. And then, so they're going to pay all this money to rebuild everything that we destroyed in Iran, essentially on our behalf. So war reparations are going to get paid to an enemy? Like, they've been trying to sugarcoat this by saying it's not going to cost taxpayers $1, which I have never believed from day one that they said it. But let's say, for the sake of argument, that was correct. Why are we giving $300 billion to a terrorist regime? The United States used to never negotiate with terrorists. Now we're going to arrange war reparations with Iran for the attacks that we started. And we were supposed to finish. Right? Here's another thing. I'm going to get off on this, but I'm going off on a tangent a little bit. Cheers, everyone, if you're already having one. When we started this, first you had Midnight Hammer. Midnight Hammer had that secret stealth attack, which was supposed to, according to Trump and the administration, obliterate all of their nuclear facilities. They couldn't do a damn thing. They were done. Then we come to this point for the beginning of this and go, oh, whoopsies. Whoopsie poopsie. They're 2 weeks away from making a nuclear weapon, from achieving nuclear military capability. So we have to attack. We're going, wait a minute. What? You said we destroyed all the facilities. So what actually happened was Israel gave us intel that the Ayatollah was having a meeting with all of his top generals and advisors. And they said there's no better time to get him than the president. We said we agree. So we set up a joint attack to hit them that was successful, and it killed the Ayatollah. Except that I think that they thought they were going to surrender immediately after losing the Ayatollah. They didn't. The remnants of the IRGC and the Ayatollah's gay son, no lie, gay son, not supposed to be gay in that culture, but he's gay. The Ayatollah's gay son is the new Ayatollah, as I like to call the Ayatollah of rock and roll, because I think it's a stupid name. But it's their leadership. So, and then they call it regime change, which is technically true because you got rid of the old one and a new one came in, except the new one is essentially the old one. It's the dude's son. And how is he not going to want revenge after that? And the other reason that I think that we thought, the Pentagon and leadership thought, that taking out the original Ayatollah, which was in power since 1979, was going to stop them is because we didn't plan for the Strait of Hormuz. We didn't seem to have any concrete plan at all in order to secure the Strait of Hormuz and secure supply lines for half of the globe, literally. Because America doesn't pay its own gas prices. We pay the global price because we trade globally, so we can't create our own price. So when the global market changes, so do we. So when he says America's energy independent and we don't give a fuck about the Strait of Hormuz, that's not true. You saw your gas prices go up to $4.50 a gallon. You don't have to take my word for it. We produce our own oil, but we sell it. We export it. We keep what we can for ourselves, but we don't have the facilities to refine it. We don't have enough. So most of it is traded out into the global market. So we participate with the global market. So you can't just go, well, fuck the rest of them. Americans are going to pay $2 a gallon. And the rest of the world is going to go, okay, we're not trading with the United States with oil anymore. That's none of this is going to happen. There's going to be no back and forth with all of this. Then what we produce will be solely our own, and it won't be enough for the American people. So this whole thing has turned into a mess. And now the Iranians, we have, and I said this on a previous show, I said we have taught the Iranians a far better lesson than ever being able to create a nuclear weapon. A nuclear weapon only hits cities. I say only, but obviously it's devastating. It hits cities and it takes out one area. Cut off the Strait of Hormuz and you cut off the entire planet. You disrupt the entire planet. Its ability to send fuel in and out, back and forth. So now the Iranians have been shown, you're right, we don't need a nuke. We just need control of the Strait of Hormuz. This end result is a disaster. This is not good news. The peace deal is not good news. Now Iran is going to be able to act with impunity. You will not be able to do anything to them because the minute that you push, they'll go, fuck you, Strait of Hormuz closed. Fuck you, American motherfucking pig. I close it. Done. We're going to throw some mines down. You're not sending ships anymore. Go fuck yourself. What are you going to fucking do about it? So Israel has fucked themselves. Iran has come out and said, no Israeli ships will be allowed. Period. There might be an agreement with the other countries that maybe they can come through, depending on how this works out. Israel will not be allowed. So Israel has fucked themselves for anything, any shipping that will go through the Strait of Hormuz that's going to the United Arab Emirates, that's going to Dubai, that's going to any of those Gulf states. They fuck themselves. Any ships associated with them will not be allowed. And then any of the other countries, you got to go through all of this deal. So now he wants $672 million and to fund removing Iranian materials. Like, why? The White House says the funding would go to the Department of Energy, ultimately to remove and eliminate Iranian nuclear materials, including uranium hexafluoride, UF6, uranium in various forms, and highly enriched uranium from research reactors. Because this is what we've been saying. We're going to go in, Iran is going to let us go in, and we're going to remove everything. If it's dust and it's buried underground, who gives a fuck? Leave it there. Are you going to send 1 million Mexican maids with dustpans and brushes, and they're all just going to go and sweep all this shit up? I thought it was nuclear dust. I thought it was nothing. So send the fucking cleaning crew, the Mexican cleaning crew, clean it up. The fuck you need $672 million for? Fucking joke. Now, one of the things he's claiming here is this guy, Big Oil, is not dropping prices. They're price gouging. The DOJ is investigating. This is the newest claim from the Trump administration, that big oil companies are still setting their prices at a higher level, despite the change with the negotiations in the Strait of Hormuz, which is in constant fluctuation. One of my latest things was the Strait of Hormuz is not even really open. So he tweets, the big oil companies are not dropping their price at the pump, commensurate with the sharply lower prices that are paying for oil. Those prices are dropping like a rock. In other words, customers are being gouged. I have instructed the DOJ to immediately start looking into this. Gasoline prices better start going down a lot faster than what I'm seeing. President DJT. What I think is happening here is the companies are reacting to the instability in that area. The Strait of Hormuz is not 100% secure. That MOU, that memo of understanding, is not set in stone. It's a 60-day ceasefire, and it's contingent on both sides meeting all of the agreements that were made. Iran is already saying that America is breaking by allowing Israel to keep attacking Lebanon. And Israel has already said, go fuck yourselves. That one. So, this was interesting in the area of Iran. ONIST posted this, and I couldn't find a confirmation, and I thought it was bullshit. But now multiple outlets are reporting it. A U.S. fighter pilot shot down by Iran describes an alarming jellyfish drone before the crash. So this guy has really been shot down, and this didn't really happen. I didn't believe it at first. That's showing some of the wreckage.
Violent than ejecting out of a fighter jet aircraft. You will never experience anything more violent than ejecting out of a fighter jet aircraft. There's nothing on the planet that comes even close. The most violent experience of your life, period.
A seriously wounded U.S. Air Force colonel was rescued after ejecting from his shot-down fighter jet over Iran. Despite his injuries, the F-15E weapons officer evaded capture for 36 hours behind enemy lines after punching out. What many people don't realize is that ejection can be a shockingly violent and even deadly procedure that wreaks havoc on the body, potentially shrinking a pilot's height by up to 2 inches. But why is ejecting from a fighter jet so traumatic? We spoke to a former Top Gun pilot to break it down.
My name is Matthew Buckley. My call sign is Wiz. I flew the F-18 Hornet for the United States Navy for about 15 years. Graduated from the Navy Fighter Weapons School adversary course, which most people know as Top Gun. You're always worried about the condition of an aviator or an air crew if they had to eject, because the ejecting is one of the most violent.
Okay, so this talks about him going through the ejection process. That's not what we're looking for here. So, which I'm sure it sucks. I can only imagine. Not interested in finding out. A U.S. pilot who was rescued after his plane was shot down in Iran chillingly recalled being swarmed by Iranian drones that moved together in unison in a jellyfish-like formation. Multiple drones interconnected and moving as one, with similar drones below the bigger drones like legs. One of the sources familiar with the pilot's witness account. Real alien shit, the source added. The F-15 pilot shared the alarming encounter in the debriefing with intelligence officials after the April incident, which could indicate that Iran has significantly increased its military drone capabilities, according to CNN. How the fighter jet was down remains under investigation, but the drone formation, which one source told CNN the pilot described as a minefield of drones hovering in the air, may have helped Iran take the F-15 down. The pilot and weapons systems officers both ejected from the jet on Good Friday. The first time in conflict, the U.S. plane was shot down in Iranian skies. The other two F-15s that were shot down were in Kuwait. That was friendly fire. They thought they were Iranian jets, shot 3 of them down, not 2, 3. And then they were rescued on the ground and they were okay. But at first they were confronted as if they were Iranians and the people were going to try and bash their heads in. But that was 3 other F-15s that were shot down over Kuwait. The pilot was quickly rescued hours later on April 3rd, but the weapons officer, who was seriously injured, has been forced into hiding in the Zagros Mountains for more than a day after Iran placed a bounty on his head. It's not clear if the weapons officer witnessed the Iranian drones, according to CNN. Didn't he fucking say he did? What do you mean it's not clear? Intelligence officials have been debating what to make of the pilot's account, whether he remembered the incident clearly after suffering concussion in the crash. So now he's a liar. Or he's misinformed because he bumped his head. The same pilot had been involved in a friendly fire incident in Kuwait. Oh, God, that's what I just brought up. On March 2nd. He got shot down twice? You need to give this guy his pink slip. And on March 2nd, in which Kuwait's defense forces accidentally fired on 3 F-15E Strike Eagle jets. All 6 crew members were forced to eject and landed safely within the Allied nation. He was one of them. Shot down twice? No, back to fucking school. Back to the miners, buddy. During the rescue operation for the pilot, a U.S. helicopter was struck by small arms fire. So we got fucking shot down rescuing your dumbass. But landed safely despite several crew members being wounded. This has been a mess. All because of squid drones. The search for weapons officer who had a $60,000 price on his head was significantly more difficult and dramatic, involving SEAL Team 6, a CIA ruse, and a forward airstrip quickly constructed in hostile territory. The officer reportedly managed to scale a 7,000-foot ridge to evade capture for 36 hours with just a handgun for defense, while American drones pounded nearby Iranian forces with missiles if they got too close to his position. Would that you put that much effort into flying a plane? You survive 36 hours, but you can't survive being shot down twice. At the same time, the CIA pulled off a diversion, planting fake intel that he had already been rescued and was being driven out of Iran, the New York Post reported. Here's U.S. use-only non-magnetic fastener, so wreckage from his plane, a piece of the F-35 that was shot down. They said F-15. So an F-31, F-30, they kept boasting about how they did it, but one F-35, I believe, got either damaged and had an emergency landing. Maybe one other got shot down, but that was extremely rare. The operation involved landing multiple transport aircraft on an ad hoc landing strip deep in Iranian territory, just south of the city of Isfahan, where the nuclear facility is. One of them that we did destroyed. After the officer's emergency beacon was tracked to the mountain, 2 MC-130J aircraft, each worth around $100 million. I'm glad that we put the price in there. Were demolished in place so as not to fall into enemy hands after they became stuck on the strip. Oh my God! We blew up 2 aircraft because we couldn't get him out of there. We couldn't leave him. Could you imagine what you could do if the government just dispersed $100 million back to like half of us? Do it as a lottery. Could you imagine what you'd end up with? We just fucking blew them up because we couldn't get him out. For one guy who got shot down twice. There were no I'm glad he's rescued. Glad he's rescued. Just saying. There were no U.S. deaths among the rescue team, and all the commandos and the weapons officer involved returned safely. I am happy to hear that. But, okay, squid drones took him out. So the word is that China is becoming, here's a diagram, typical jellyfish formation, large drone mothership. The smaller drones come from here. I don't know if they remain tethered. And then they untether if they can hit, or you simply maneuver and use them as a minefield. I don't know. But that's interesting, and that's what he's claiming he saw what took down his fighter. Was essentially this, which looks alien. So this was OSINT Defender, which I tried to get confirmation of originally, and I couldn't. American pilot of a U.S. Air Force F-15E Strike Eagle shot down over Iran in April, requiring high-risk rescue mission by Special Forces, described a shocking sight before ejecting from his aircraft, multiple Iranian drones hovering. Now, I found OSINT Defender to be pretty reliable because I'm pretty sure Cam Higbee set that up. If you remember, that's the guy that's been out in the field exposing Antifa and getting video of their inner workings. He's also infiltrating their communications network that they're using on Signal. I believe he's the one that set up OSINT. So when I first saw it, I thought it was really odd because I asked Grok, and Grok said, there's no knowledge of this happening. And then someone goes, how would Grok know? And then I was like, well, how does this motherfucker know? That's what I want to know. Put the fucking pieces together. But, because I like to confirm everything to the best of my ability so I'm not bullshitting everybody that's watching the show. Or information that I'm putting out. But he was correct. Because multiple sources at this point are putting out the weird jellyfish thing. This is extra shit for, this is Dark Side Bill. Okay, here's the lesbos that are telling Algae congratulations. This is true. The U.S. waives Iranian oil sanctions for 2 months and a payday worth up to $10 billion. So part of one of the deal is they would no longer sanction Iranian tankers. They will be allowed to leave the Strait of Hormuz from Karg Island. They'll be allowed to sell to Russia, to China, wherever they're going. And they'll be allowed to make their money back. This is part of this settlement peace deal. It's embarrassing. Graham Allens is correct. We are better off without Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson. Tucker Carlson decided he's not part of the Republican Party anymore. But I'm split on this. Because, like, Thomas Massey has said that they're going to start their own party, and Marjorie Taylor Greene. Now, Tucker Carlson is going in that direction. So I'm in the process of reevaluating this. Alex Jones is saying the same thing. Megyn Kelly's a cunt. Sean Ryan's a retard CIA plant. Nick Fuentes is a gay Mexican pretending he's a conservative. They're all fucking pieces of shit. But Tucker and Alex. Candace Owens is a fucking lying, grifting piece of shit that is just making shit up about every situation in order to draw in money. I wish I was doing financially well with bullshit as well as Candace Owens is. But with Tucker Carlson and Alex Jones, I find myself reevaluating some of the situation. At first I was thinking to myself, well, Tucker's a traitor. And then I'm kind of going over it again. You guys can let me know what you think and where you're at on this. That I think we do need a new party. One of the reasons I think that is you see a bunch of socialist wins in America. Socialists are, and I'll try and bring this up here. Socialists have won seats in local government or a house seat or whatever. So in June of 2026, Democratic Socialists of America. So now this is this branch that is going off and kind of felting the Democratic Party. And they're their own party. So they've split off. They're like, fuck the Democratic Party. We're going to be our own thing. We're Democratic Socialists, which is ironic because the Nazis were socialists. But okay, we'll put that aside for a minute. In June 2026, Democratic Socialists of America, the DSA candidates, made significant gains across multiple levels of government, marking one of the largest waves of socialist, I can't believe that I'm reading this, largest waves of socialist electoral success in U.S. history. New York State legislature, not so shocked about that one. At least 7 DSA members won Democratic primary elections for state Senate and assembly seats. By the way, this is over Democrats. They weren't Democrats. They ran as Democratic Socialists. Doubling the movement's presence in Albany next year. This included Jabari Brisport. That's an American name if I ever heard one. State Senate, Brooklyn. Emily Gallagher, Assemblywoman, Brooklyn. Farah Sofrant Forrest. What a fucking American name right there. Assemblywoman, Brooklyn. Diana C. Moreno, Assemblywoman, Queens. Marcela Mitanez, Assemblywoman, Brooklyn. Saharahana Chalisa. Fucking American is apple pie, folks. Assemblywoman, Hudson Valley. Julia Salazar, State Senate, first DSA elected to the legislature in 2018. Some candidates like Moreno, Catan, and Orkin were uncontested and are expected to win their November races. New York and statewide races. Claire Valdez won the Democratic primary for the 7th Congressional District. Doesn't say she's a socialist, though. Seat vacated by retiring Rep. Nydia Velasquez, defeating Brooklyn Borough President Antonio Reynoso, not a fucking American in sight, and council member Julie One. Daria Liza Alilala Chavalia Mirabandeja ousted 5-term Rep. Adriano Espaillat in the 13th Congressional District, becoming a new face of progressive leadership in Manhattan and the Bronx. Mayor-elect Mamdani, a socialist piece of shit, who comes from a rich family. He ran a taco truck. His mother makes Hollywood movies, and his dad does something else. They're from the socialist, communist, Muslim. They're from the Congo, right? And it's Muslim oriented there because and no one is paying proper attention to this or doing anything about it. North Africa is being taken over by Muslim nations. Libya and others are just moving their way down and taking over all these places. Niger is under border disputes right now, fighting over this. No one gives a shit. I'm one of the few that I know that's actually talked about what's going on in Northern Africa. But the left tells you they care about blacks, though. But I'm talking about how they're being wiped out in Northern Africa. Not a fucking word from them. Other U.S., I'm assuming that those were socialists, even though it didn't come right out and say it, because it goes on to say other U.S. socialist wins. Earlier in the year, DSA-backed candidates had already won 22 races in Minneapolis. No shock there, including from the Leering Center, including council seats in a mayoral race. In November of 2025, DSA candidates also made history by winning New York City mayor, that was Mamdani, Seattle mayor, Katie Wilson. Your name sounds American, but you're not doing American things. Why it matters. These victories signal a grassroots affordability first political surge. That's your opinion. That has challenged moderate Democrats and corporate-aligned incumbents. Analysis note that voters are increasingly rejecting the status quo and embracing bold progressive policies on housing, labor, and social justice. And here's the problem with that. People, it appears to me, because it makes no sense to me to vote socialists into office. If you've done any homework or learned about history at all, you know communism doesn't work, you know socialism doesn't work. But that's assuming you've done any homework and you've looked into how these things have actually gone. So for the layman that is not paying attention to this and not jumping headfirst into the waters, you're seeing a socialist come up and go, some of the rhetoric is kind of fuck the upper government, fuck the rich, which you've heard 100 times. I'm going to give you free buses. I'm going to give you controlled rent in all of your apartments. Landlords, this is the thing Mamdani did. He said landlords will not be able to raise your rent, or they'll face a penalty for raising the rent, or they'll have to pay extra taxes or something like that. And everyone goes, that's great. I hate that my landlord rips me off. I hate that every year I go up in my rent like 2 times. The problem is that no one thinks about is when you tell the landlord you're never raising your rent again. You're at $2,100. You're not fucking going up again because we're doing affordable housing. And then they go, great, we're selling our property. We're done. We can't make money from this. Why the fuck am I a landlord? I didn't become a landlord because I'm the American Red Cross. I became a landlord because I could provide housing for a person, and I can also make money and put it in me and my family's pocket. So these people don't pay attention to this. The socialism is take away from all of the rich and all of the well-to-do and disperse it among the American people. which sounds good when you say it until it comes into practice in our society and our economy, and then it doesn't work. It falls apart. Everybody can't have everything. If everybody has a 60-inch flat screen TV, then 60-inch flat screen TVs don't matter anymore. If everyone has a Corvette, Corvettes don't have any value anymore. If everyone has $1 million mansion, $1 million mansions don't have any value anymore. It's just a typical house. Then you have to move on to the next thing in order to attempt to achieve something that is better than that for all of those that wouldn't be content, right? You and I would love $1 million mansion that we paid $2,000 a month for, right? Under some socialist thing, which doesn't work that way because property taxes and all that other fucking bullshit. But the core part of this is, and the reason, in my opinion, that we're seeing socialists win is because Americans have become tired of the status quo. And this is falling back into the Tucker Alex Jones, Megyn Kelly issue. They've become so tired that if you come to them with something new, they go, that sounds great. As long as it's not Democrat or Republican, I hate them both and I'm sick of it. And in that, they're not necessarily wrong. But the new thing that they're presenting to you is just another different disaster. But these socialists are getting put in, and they're beating out traditional Democrats. So the Democrat Party is in really bad shape because they're still playing by the old playbook. These socialists are playing by the new playbook, their own playbook. And some Americans are gravitating towards that because they don't know better. They're just hearing things that I like. If I run for office and I tell you I'm going to lower food in the area to more reasonable prices, everything is going to be like, affordable for everyone. All the apartments in the area are going to be affordable for everyone. I'm going to get rid of excise taxes and I'm going to get rid of other stuff like that. You're going to go, fucking love this guy. When can I vote for him? And you haven't found out how I'm going to do it. And the proof is in the pudding. You don't want to eat this food. I'm going to make something that looks nice. You don't want to ingest it. It's going to be bad because how I make it happen is off the backs of every other taxpayer that's going to subsidize all of the things that I promised you that are potentially the person out there struggling to live. So anything extra that is offered to you is offered off the backs of the taxpayers. And that's what neither party likes to talk about. When Barack Obama was talking about better free health care for certain individuals under within a certain earnings or tax bracket and all that Obamacare, right? The problem was Obamacare was a pyramid scheme. Everybody up here that couldn't afford health care would get health care. Everybody else down here that was getting buried were going to be the ones that were paying for everybody up here. And people have a problem with that. The money has to come from somewhere. So in relation to this, with them talking about going to another party, I'm starting to reevaluate that might need to be done. The Democrats are already dealing with the socialist Democrats. Now the Republicans, I think, need to deal with this new party that could have Tucker Carlson in it, Thomas Massey in it, Alex Jones in it, people like that. These other shitbags, I don't trust. Megyn Kelly, Sean Bryan, Nick Fuentes. I don't trust those motherfuckers as far as I can throw them. But that's my thoughts on that. For anyone that cares, you can comment. You can let me know what your thoughts are on it. If you agree with that. CNN doing a side-by-side of Vance and Obama talking about nuclear inspections because it's starting to seem a little like Trump's deal is like Obama's deal, running a different suit. But let's check this out.
This is what we're most excited about as Americans. The Iranians have agreed to invite IAEA inspectors back into their country. That is a major milestone.
They already had IAEA inspectors before this happened, and they were hiding shit from them too.
The American people, and the first step in permanently denuclearizing or permanently ending a nuclear weapons program in Iran.
For decades, inspectors will have access to Iran's entire nuclear supply chain, from the uranium mines and mills where they get raw materials to the centrifuge production facilities where they make machines to enrich it. And under the terms of the deal, inspectors will have the permanent ability to inspect any suspicious sites in Iran.
How is that different from what J.D. Vance just said? I hate Obama. I never liked him. How is that any different from what J.D. just put out that we already had before we attacked? I think I removed them from my bookmarks I'm not upset for. President Trump drops overwhelming new poll finding Americans approve of his Iran deal by a whopping 41 points. Except Matt Tarbio ended up disputing this. 67 to 26. Oil is flowing, gas will drop, and America First deal is being made. And this is not accurate. This is bullshit information. And I'm pretty sure I thought Matt Tarbio came in at some point and said, these numbers were bullshit. This is not accurate. I don't see him on here, but at some point he responded to these numbers saying this ain't right. This is, for anyone that knows Ethan Ralph, this is him falling out of his chair during the kill stream. This fucking retard. Anyone that I have tuning in that's like familiar with Kino Casino, I run a clips page for them too, to help them out on YouTube because I hate the quartering. And this is part of it. This fucking Ethan Ralph, this fucking moron can't even stay in his chair. Trump saying the only country who might collect tolls in the Strait of Hormuz would be the United States. That's not true. I don't think that's happening. Israeli psychic Uri Geller told Channel 14 News that Iran is using a low-frequency electromagnetic weapon to brainwash and influence President Trump into accepting the MOU. That's an interesting thought process. I don't know about that one. Iran's foreign minister, Araghchi, Iran's foreign minister did walk out of the negotiations, but he returned. In fact, the Qatari rep refused to shake hands with J.D. Vance and ignored him. In fact, the Iranian rep did the same and left the main room. According to media present at the location, actual negotiations lasted 80 minutes, not hours. This is what we call a spin. Nick is a cheerleader for Trump without an original thought or any actual researching abilities. This is Matt Tardeo. I have found him to have good news and be reliable because I have looked into the things he says. I don't take everything at face value. I look into what is being said, find out for myself, and then talk to my audience about it. So this is J.D. Vance making his own particular claims about how these negotiations are going. Nick Sorter claiming J.D. Vance called out those pushing fake news on social media about saying Iran negotiations were abandoning peace talks in Switzerland. Be wary of the foreign ops. I said this earlier in the show. The Trump admin is saying is full steam ahead. Negotiations are going great. There's no problems here. Word is coming in from behind the scenes of what's really going on. That it is falling apart. They're getting nowhere. There will not be a peace treaty. Here's JD.
Sometimes I find them extremely confusing as negotiators. But look, we had a little press conference. They obviously don't quite have the same First Amendment protections in Iran that we have in the United States of America. We talked to you guys and then had a series of really good meetings. What I did find kind of funny is that after that initial meeting, there was this, sort of social media firestorm where everybody said the Iranians are going to leave, and then we proceeded to talk to them for like the next 9 hours. So I would just encourage the media, mistrust a little bit what you see coming out of Iranian social media. They can be confusing negotiators, but we feel like we're making progress. Thank you, guys.
So there you go. And I'm inclined to believe the bad news is coming out because everything that I'm getting is not good news about what's happening there. All right, that's everything I have for you guys for the midweek Blitzkrieg today. Ways you can support the show is you can buy me a coffee at buymeacoffee.com/Relief Valve Podcast, or even the Cash App at Relief Valve Podcast. I pay for all of the show and handle it all out of pocket on my own. I appreciate any support that I get or financial support that I get. In the meantime, thank you to all the new viewers, all the new followers on X, on Rumble, on YouTube, on Kick. Thank you to everybody that's been tuning into the show and you like what you're getting here. You're having a little bit of fun. I try to have a little bit of fun with it, and that you're getting some news. It really matters because I don't lie to you guys on the show. I tell you the truth, whether you like it or not. All right. Thanks, everyone, and I'll talk to you again soon. Thank you.